Tom Barrett is running for Congress in Michigan. Tom, how you doing, sir?
Great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Really good. My pleasure. Thanks for coming on. What is this district in Michigan? Where are we talking about here? Where are you running?
It is the Michigan 7th Congressional District. It is based in the Lansing area of Michigan, kind of the middle of the mitten part of our state. Includes a number of other counties surrounding the greater Lansing area. And it is ranked as the most competitive congressional district in America this year. So we're doing everything we can. We got just over 6 weeks to go till the election.
All right, so Slotkin is the current.
Alyssa Slotkin is the current incumbent, but she's running for the United States Senate, so this is going to be an open seat this year. It's a great flip opportunity for us to really expand on our very fragile majority in the U.S. House right now, give President Trump the opportunity to really move an agenda that will put America first and put Americans first going forward, because we all know what will happen if we don't have a Republican majority in the U.S. House going into next year. They will impeach President Trump before he can even take the oath of office.
Yeah, that's for sure. So how can Lansing, the capital, be anywhere close to a conservative or Republican district?
Sure. So the city of Lansing itself is not a Republican-leaning area, but the geography of this district includes many areas and counties surrounding Lansing. So Eaton County to the west where I live, Clinton, Shiawassee, Livingston, and a little bit of Oakland County, as well as the remaining parts of Ingham County, the county that the city of Lansing is in, add to the Republican votes and the independent and conservative-leaning voters in this district. In fact, the Cook Political Report, that is kind of viewed as the best analysis of this, ranks the district as an R+2 kind of seat. So it really is a seat that's ripe for the opportunity. I've represented very competitive districts in this area in the state legislature, starting out about a decade ago, and nearly all of the area that I had represented in the Michigan State Senate is folded into this congressional district. So I think it really gives us a great opportunity. I think people in this district are frustrated, like your listeners, with the rising cost of living, the open border, the challenges we've seen with crime, issues of national security threats coming from China, Iran, and other adversaries of the United States. These are the things I hear from people in this district that are families just like the one my wife and I are raising. We have 4 kids right here in this district that we're raising, and we just feel like our voice isn't being heard in Washington right now.
Talk to me about how open borders are affecting Michigan. You're quite far away from the Mexican border.
It is
close to the Canadian one.
Right. Yeah,
what's going on?
We are very close to the Canadian border, and we've begun to see really substantial and serious threats now coming from other borders beyond just the southern border. But really, the open southern border has now presented a challenge to every community in America. It's no longer just your border towns that string, across the southern border. Fentanyl in the United States is now the leading cause of death of Americans my age 18 to 45. That is the leading cause of death of Americans in our country right now.
That's so insane. I remember someone first told me that fact, and I was like, that can't possibly be true.
Yeah.
Right, but
yeah.
It indeed is. How can that possibly be?
Well,
fentanyl, number one. I just want to say it again because that's so insane. I want everyone to say it out loud because it doesn't make any sense. Fentanyl is the number one cause of death, 18 to 45. Are you excluding certain things? Because how could that be?
No.
What are the conditions? Like, how is that possible?
Well, it's possible because we're seeing fentanyl and the components of fentanyl manufactured in China and then shipped to Mexico and then brought across our open southern border and then laced into counterfeit things, pills, particularly, and other things too that people are consuming. Some of it goes back to the underlying opioid crisis we've had in the United States, where people, take a pain pill for a condition that was warranted and necessary for them to do that, but then they become addicted to it, and then all of a sudden they're accessing counterfeit, pills and drugs for that are laced with fentanyl. It is a devastating and serious crisis and concern. It's a cultural issue when we have young people, really when they should be in the prime years of their life, who are, falling victim to fentanyl overdose. We've seen it with the VA. I'm a 22-year Army veteran, served in the United States Army from basically the moment I graduated high school until very recently. and veterans who had come home and were neglected by the VA and were put on all of this medication and then, withdrawn very, very quickly. And all of a sudden they couldn't access medication. And then many of them would turn to alternative sources that resulted in overdose deaths. I mean, this is a true American crisis, and it has many, many fundamental elements of it that are due to our open border. When I went and saw President Trump speak in Grand Rapids, he was there to speak about a young woman from Grand Rapids that was tragically killed by an illegal immigrant who had been deported under President Trump and allowed back in the country by Joe Biden. And he had a number of law enforcement sheriffs with him at that press conference. And one of the sheriffs pointed out that they very, very rarely will bust meth labs in his county any longer. It used to be a huge problem about 20 years ago. He's like, we don't see a lot of meth labs anymore because it's all being made in Mexico and brought across our border. So they don't even need to manufacture it here in the United States. He said the only thing cheaper in America today in Joe Biden's economy is the cost of methamphetamine. It used to cost $300 for a particular volume. Now it's $50 for the same amount of methamphetamine because they're making it. They're sourcing the ingredients in China, making it in Mexico, and bringing it right across our border. It's a horrible crisis.
With the former border chief in San Diego testified the other day that it used to cost $10 a pill for fentanyl, and now it's a quarter.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing where the prices have gone down.
Yeah, it's devastating.
We're talking with Tom Barrett. He's running for Congress in the Lansing area in Michigan. We got to win this open seat. Right now, in the front of the opposite of Drudge, Breitbart is two things relevant to your race. First, the Michigan Farm Bureau has endorsed Mark Rogers over Slotkin, whose seat you're running for now, but as you said, she's running for Senate. So that's good that the Farm Bureau has endorsed Mark Rogers. And then also there's an exclusive interview that our Matt Boyle did with Trump, where he plans to, it says, hammer China buying American farmland. We have to have control of our land. I'm sure you got some farms in your area here. What is the biggest issue that we're not talking about with that?
You're exactly right. And this is a big deal. Mike Rogers is running in this very, very competitive, open U.S. Senate seat here in Michigan. Michigan Farm Bureau had typically endorsed Debbie Stabenow, the outgoing incumbent Democrat member of the United States Senate. She had served on the Agriculture Committee, and they had historically endorsed her in her Senate races. This is a big momentum shift for Mike, who's in this top competitive United States Senate race here in Michigan. It's an open seat this year. You look at Michigan, we're a top most competitive state in the presidential election cycle. The electoral, votes in Michigan are always in play for both sides, and it's very, very critical. We have an open United States Senate seat, which is not all that common these days in a very competitive state like Michigan. And then the 7th congressional district where I'm running is ranked as the most competitive congressional race in America. So it's like competitive all the way down to the root. Yep. We need to take this very seriously. And to your point about farmland and farmland preservation, we have a Chinese-backed battery electric vehicle battery company coming into a rural part of Michigan, just outside of Big Rapids. It's not in my district, but it's not far from there. And they are being backed with hundreds of millions of dollars of state tax money that have been given to them by my opponent in this race. He signed a non-disclosure agreement to negotiate sending hundreds of millions of dollars of state tax money to a Chinese-backed company in Michigan that Barack Obama's own CIA director would say would be used for espionage against the United States. He was a sitting state senator when he signed that non-disclosure agreement, a absolutely devastating ethical lapse of judgment, probably would be illegal, and did that. And then is actually listed in their Foreign Agents Registry Act for secret conversations that he had with this company over the whole deal. It is rotten to the core. It is a huge problem. We have the Chinese and other adversaries looking to buy property and buy resources in the United States. We have to stop them from doing that. People can go on my website, TomBarrettForCongress.com, see more of what we are talking about, how this is such a big problem, not just in my district, not just in the state of Michigan, but how big of a problem it is nationally, that we need to keep these adversaries in check, and we need sound policies that do that. And it's a huge part of why I'm running for Congress.
People just didn't know what time it is and what we're up against. Is the company Goshen? Gotion?
Yes, Goshen is the name of the company, and they have direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party. They're wholly owned by a Chinese company that has sworn allegiance to the Chinese Communist Party. Their North American branch tries to claim that they're just some mom and apple pie kind of company, just doing their own thing. And it's like, well, you don't have to register as a foreign agent if you are an American company. So it's a huge problem.
Crazy. What's your website, Tom? People can support?
TomBarrettForCongress.com. And we need all the help over the next 6 weeks to get this thing done. The polls have us ahead, but they're tightening up, and they're spending millions of dollars going scorched earth against me, and we need everybody's help to win this one.
All right, let's win it. TomBarrettForCongress.com. Good to talk to you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Have a great day. We got to win. We got to win Michigan. Goodness.